Today is December 29th, and I am doing my second video, I guess. I'm not going to count them every time, but I was asked in a comment on the last video if I could share a little bit about my process of journaling. And in the links below, I will share a couple of inspirations that I found, because the Fauxbonichi journaling is a new style of journaling for me, but I'm really enjoying it, and it's helping me to focus more on positive, as opposed to the way I used to journal, when I would write everything out and then it would be like a quagmire of muck in my brain for days and days and days. And I found that as I was going through old journals, I was really recapping the same garbage over and over again. So I made a decision over the a few years ago. I decided that it was quite deliberate, that things weren't going to suck my joy, that I would take care of what I could and then forget about the rest. And if other people were having issues or stress or complaining or whining or whatever, that I wasn't going to let it bring me down. I could be supportive, I could listen, but I wasn't going to let it bring me down. And that positive focus has really enhanced more and more over the last year, as I went through some cognitive behavioral therapy in a group session, and it really helped me tune into the thought processes, and I really try to catch those negative thoughts as they come in. Obviously not always successfully, but I do my best to capture them when they come in and challenge them against reality or non-reality. A lot of negative thinking has nothing to do with reality, as I'm finding, and quite often are fear-fed, which is false evidence appearing real, for those who need an acronym or haven't heard the acronym to go along with fear. So this is kind of what this video is going to be about, is to share my journaling process in the Hobonichi. It was inspired a lot by Miss Vicky B, and there was another lady that I came across just recently who just fueled that inspiration even more. And so, like I said, I'm going to share those videos in the links below. But one of the questions that was asked is, what do I use? So I have this little bag that I finally put all together in a bag yesterday, actually. And so I have scissors. I have a koi watercolor set, and so it's one of these ones that has a tray in it that you can mix, and then it has a palette of colors. This one has 18, because they didn't have the 24 when I went to buy it. Sorry about that squeaky noise, it's gotta be hard on your ears. Anyway, so it's the koi watercolor set, and I have, as the Christmas present, I got Copic Multiliners. Now, for those who do the Fauxbonichi and keep finding black pens bleed through or shadow heavily, these ones really don't. Not like, I have another 3, but they weren't a very good quality set, and very little use out of them, and they're already starting to hiccup. But these I love, and these ones don't really show through the pages. I also have a set of Prismacolors. I use these most for color on the pages, because pencil crayon doesn't bleed through the pages. I have a glue stick, and you'll see why in a minute. And then the other thing I have are, which I also got for Christmas, is a set of 24 Copic markers. And these do bleed heavily through the pages, so I don't use these directly on my page. I did the first day I got them just to see, and found that they bled through, so I don't use these directly on my journal pages, but I will use them on a piece of paper that I'm going to glue in. Anyway, so now what I'm going to do is kind of go through the pages. So this was a watercolor of my before and after stomach of the gastric bypass, and this was me just playing with the journal a little bit. Back in November, someone that I became aware of they had a house fire, so I was able to design the tickets to sell for the fundraiser that they did, so I just kind of captured that as a good thing in here. This here was just my first month post-op, and I weighed 334. That would have been on the 20th of November, and I was quite thrilled about that. these here are actually, I was at a conference in December and I just put them on this page to fill them in. And these here were actually on soap in the Delta that I stayed at. So on them they had celebrate life with the philosophy of every day is a gift waiting to be unwrapped. And this was celebrate dreams. So this was on the facial soap and this was on the body soap. And this one, the philosophy behind celebrate dreams, is when you need to feel like your heart has wings, dream big. Okay, and then this here is off of a tea bag. It has quotes on all the little papers that you hang outside the cup. And no one is rich enough to buy back their past. And that means a lot, because the past has actually been probably the biggest nightmare of my existence in some respects. And, you know, after all, it's the past that put me in the predicament I was in as far as weight. So, or at least my way of dealing with it. You can't blame the past, but I can blame my way of dealing with the past. So, anyhow, this was December the 1st, so this is when I started to actually start journaling a little bit more, and I had a problem with pork. I ate pork and it made me nauseous. And then this here was 2 quotes that I got the same day. I was at what's called a tea talk, and this was the quote that was on the tea bag, and this was the quote that was on a piece of notepaper that I got, and I felt that there was really a coalition between the two. And on this particular day, which was December the 1st, I weighed 323.6. So I did pretty good. And then this was me revamping my Sherry Revision channel because I hadn't done anything on it for quite some time. And then I started the YouTube videos channel at the same time. This was me having problems with food again and spending an awful lot of time in the bathroom, throwing up. And then one of the other things that I captured was the fact that Todoist and Evernote link together, and it's very handy with my job. On this particular day, I got 2 new books. I got Zen Doodle and Everybody Writes, which Zen tangles are one of the things that I kind of like doing, and this was just my little, my little example of a small one, and so was that down there. And this was the fact that I was just having a blah day, probably because I was extremely tired and drained. Now, one of the things about these journals is that on the regular Hobonichi, they have like a day and the month, and they have a section for weather. Now, I don't care about any of that stuff, and I did originally start doing 4 lines, but now I just do over 2. I just really write the date out. That's all I care about capturing on the top. So you see here, Tuesday, December the 16th, 2014. And I did write a damp and rainy day simply because, it was really standing out evidently to me that day. Now this is a picture. This was a photograph that I took. It says, "Be yourself, everyone else is taken." It was on a cup at the bookstore, and I really thought it was funny. And so what I did was I printed it out, and then I just cut the outline of the cup out and colored it in pencil crayon. I hadn't got my Copic markers yet because that was over here. And then I'm a Christian, and I believe Jesus died for our sins. Not that I'm preaching at anybody. That's just what I believe. And Jeremiah 29:11 kept jumping out at me like phenomenally over the last, I would say, month. Every time I turn around, that was coming out. And I got these boxes I got a new desk, and on the shelves on my boxes is Love is a Journey, and in their little, it's like one of those little name tags on it. It has the scripture Jeremiah 29:11. Now, love is a journey, love believes, love never ends. That's not the verse, but the fact that the scripture was there, because what the verse actually is, it's just basically God saying that He has a plan for us, and His plan is good, not to harm us. And so I thought that was just evident. And then I love you, at the bottom. It was just one of those days. Over here, I gotta laugh at this. But anyway, over here is where I got my Copic markers, and I was really happy about it. So these are not Copic markers. These are all pencil crayon colored in. And this is my granddaughter. She spent the night, and when her parents got up in the morning, and because she was sleeping in the room with them, she'd somehow gotten a hold of a marker, and it's all over her face, arms and legs, anywhere where her pajamas weren't, basically. And she colored the pillow and the blanket. And my daughter brought me out and brought her out to me, and she says, "Did I ever do something like this?" And I think every kid does at some point. My daughter didn't actually color herself, but she did color the walls. So anyway, thank goodness it was a dry erase marker, because it was black and it came off fairly simple. If it was a permanent marker, I don't know how that might have turned out. So this was the 18th of December, and see what I mean about the Copic marker? If you notice here, I actually did the outline here because I wanted to see if it went through, and it did. So I just used the outline here and wrote the word smile. These pages took on a theme of their own, because smile was kind of what I put here. I drew in the smiley face the next day when I put this one on here, and then when I was back looking at it, I went, this has kind of got a whole smiley theme. And this is my granddaughter when she went to see Santa Claus, and I don't have a color printer, so I printed it out in black and white, colored it in with the Copic markers. So this is what I was talking about, coloring in on pages that you're going to glue in. So I trimmed it down and I glued it in there. And then this was me, again, having a rough day. I went back to bed, and I sleep with a CPAP machine, so I didn't have to worry about trying to draw my face. And then I caught up on YouTube videos as well that day. And the other things that inspire me, like I try and capture things that are positive. So these are just a few things that happened that day. But sometimes there'll be certain things, if you're scrolling on Facebook or something like that, that you actually get quotes that will jump out at you. And that's what this is. Now, like I said, I don't have a color printer, so I printed it in black and white and then used pink and skin tone to color it in with my Copic markers. And this here is really something, like really spoke to me. It says, Speak 5 lines to yourself every morning. I am the best. I can do it. God is always with me. I am a winner, and today is my best day. And so I thought I wanted to make sure I kept that, so I'd read it again and again. And then these were a couple other things that I captured in the day. It's hard to see them upside down. 5 days until Christmas, so I decided to just draw some Christmas balls and color them in with pencil crayon. And I'm working on a 2015 plan. I own my own business, so I'm working on a business plan as well as a bit of a personal plan. This is a bit of a sad day for me. Wasn't really during the day, but when I started to do my journal and I realized it's the 21st and that's my sister's birthday, it was a bit of a sad day. So I was having a bit of a rough day. Like, I wanted to go to church and I slept in, so I didn't make it. And why I decided to have gastric bypass, I did that video and I put that up last week. But this is a picture of my sister, and when I was looking through pictures online for a picture of my sister, I found this one. This was after she had heart surgery, which was the reason why she died prematurely, but this was many years before she passed away. And anyway, when I came across this picture, I kind of froze and took a deep breath, because that's my mom, and my mom passed away 2 years after my sister did. So my sister would have been 50 this year, and she died when she was 31, or in her 31st. I think she was in her 31st year, so 1994. My mom died in, 96 my sister died. My mom died in 98, so I just thought it was very fitting to capture the two of them together. And so, and then the 22nd and 23rd I did together, because I didn't do the 22nd. There was a lot going on. And so work. I have lots of work to do and not nearly enough time in the day, and sometimes it's hard to focus or procrastinate or what have you. I have, little issues. And then this year I just did the color again, and then I put in Be Joyful later on, and I captured a little bit. And this was the 23rd. This was my stepfather's birthday, and so this was a picture that my sister had, or my niece had captured, and so I printed that out, and then I just colored him in because it was his day. And then over here, the 24th, the day before Christmas, I slept in really late. I find that since I've had the surgery, like
it seems like if I have really big days, a lot of activity going on, and this was a lot of driving to go to the birthday party and family Christmas, and so I find that the next day I'm just exhausted, and I would think by this time it would wear out, but of course it hasn't. And then we had Christmas Eve at my aunt's house, so I printed out a picture of my aunt and her friend, and I colored them in. And then, I don't know why, but I watched Paradise Road on Christmas Eve. It's not typically a Christmassy movie at all. It's a war-related movie. But I really enjoyed that movie. I thought it was very well done. Very upsetting because it's based on reality, but it was very well done. And then this is Christmas Day. Christmas Day to me is all about Jesus' birthday, so happy birthday, Jesus. And then this was from a Christmas card last year. And so I had kept it because I liked the verse that was on it, so I just chopped it up and put it in, and then this was from another Christmas card. And then the 26th, again, was, you know, a bit of a sad day for me, Boxing Day in Canada. I'm not a shopper, so I avoid stores like the plague this time of year. I can't stand being a big crowd, so Boxing Day used to be the day that I would spend with my dad. When I was a kid, my parents separated. We spent Christmas Day with my mom, Boxing Day with my dad. But my dad now lives in Iowa, and I'm in Canada, so in Ontario. So it's a long ways to go just for the day. It takes 16 hours to 17 hours just to go one way by car. And so anyway, and then this was the 27th, so I didn't do yesterday's yet. But one of the things that, you know, that we did, I was flipping channels and realized Corner Gas. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Corner Gas, but Corner Gas is a sitcom, or was a pretty popular sitcom here in Canada. It ended back in 2009, and well missed by many people, but they decided to bring the whole cast together to do a movie this year. And I don't know exactly when it was released in 2014, but I watched it the other night because it was on TV, and it was hilarious. I mean, it starts off giving you a certain impression about the way things are, and totally doesn't turn out that way at all. Anyway, and then this was the Charlie Brown's Christmas. It was coming through on Facebook. It had something about today is the perfect day or something, which I cut that off because it's not really. But anyway, it made when I saw that on Facebook, it caused me to flash back and remember laying on the floor as a kid, younger than, I was probably, you know, 10 or younger. Well, it's definitely 10 or younger because my parents were still together. And I remember laying on the living room floor watching it on our black and white TV. So anyway, I colored that in with pencil crayon. And so this is kind of the way it's been going, and then I have just a few more days left in the year, and I did Happy New Year. This was a gift bag, but it's kind of glossy, can't write on it. I tried that, and it left it overnight. It didn't dry, so I had to wipe it off. And so anyway, it just says Happy New Year, and then it'll start off on the new page. It's the first. So this is kind of what I've done. I just take moments in the day and I capture them, and let me just lift this back up so you can see my mug. Anyway, so I just take different things out of the day and try and capture them in here, and this has been working for me. It's helping me to stay a little more focused. I notice there's a little negativity in there about the rough days and stuff, but it's more as a factual capture. Not that I am wanting to focus negatively, but if I'm not feeling well, I need to capture it somewhere, and this just seems to be the time of day to do it. It's very relaxing at the end of the day to do this, and it, you know, causes me to actually sleep better, and I'm hoping to keep going. So this book is the MiguelRuis, and I'll put a link to that as well. I got it at Barnes & Noble, although I don't live in the States. It's the only place I knew to get it, and they ship to Canada, so I was able to get it that way. And it's, I think, 400 pages in this, and so that's more than ample for the year. Now people put full-out calendars in them and everything else, and I have another one that I might use for business purposes, but this one here is simply for kind of like that diary journal capturing, and so that's what I do. And so another lady who was very inspirational to me was Mrs. Brimble's, and I will put her link as well below. So this is probably, I don't even know how long it is, but it's probably been pretty long already. And so that's the my journal. I hope that it inspires you or some of you to do something similar or to want to do something similar. I've seen people do it using dollar store notebooks, coil books, and that as well. So, but this book, MiguelRuis book, $9.95 is all it costs at Barnes and Noble, and I ordered it offline. I don't know how well the stores are stocked up. If you have one in your area, it's worth checking into. And the other thing about it is that when you open it, if you see after you do a page and it lays flat. So right now I have to stick something under this side because it's not even. So I usually put my pen. I started off putting my Bible under there, and then as it thickens up on that side, then I put my pencil box under there, the metal one. So that's it. That's all I've got. And let me know what you think. And if you do journals like this, I love seeing other people's flip through. Share your channel below. Anyway, have a great day. Bye.